Versatile Mage. Chapter 21. Arriving at school, Muning Zoo. In the student dorms. Brother Fan, we should go. It's the annual examination. It'd be bad if we're late, Zhang Xiaoho urged Mo Fan. You go first. I'll practice control for a bit longer, Mo Fan replied. Making a last-minute effort. The few people in the dorm didn't wait for Mo Fan. They left together and headed toward the examination grounds. The examination wasn't about writing answers on paper in a classroom. Although there were tests on magic theory, the points gained from them weren't much. The most important part was the annual practical examination. Frankly, it was just an assessment of the students' cultivation over the past year and a redistribution of them into classes. Mo Fan was the last to arrive at the training grounds. On normal days, everyone would be here for the practical classes, but today, the grounds were set up differently. Aside from the examiner's table arranged in a half-arc, there was also a floating star appraisal stone. The star appraisal stone looked like a black cobblestone the size of a watermelon. At the moment, it was placed at the very front of the training grounds with the help of a stone pillar. The star appraisal stone was the most important apparatus for the students' examination. The annual examination was simple, just like the awakening ceremony. The students only needed to place their hands on the star appraisal stone, and the examiners would determine the students' cultivation over the past year based on the light emitted from it. It was similar to high school exams. A single test could decide a student's fate. In this world, it was the same. Either you continued your studies and secured a good future, or you packed your things and chose a different path. Remember what I've told you before. The intensity of the stardust's radiance represents the strength of your magic. Students of the 8th class, the time has come to showcase the fruits of your year's effort. Release the light of your stardust. Zhu Musheng, the homeroom teacher, spoke passionately. Mr. Zhu, I'm sorry. I might be expelled from the school, a seemingly weak girl said, her face filled with tears. Her nervous and worried expression immediately drew sympathy from her classmates. How could that be? You've always done your best. Don't be so pessimistic, the teacher reassured her. But I'm stupid. Even if I cultivate every day, my stardust still seems so weak, the girl, Zhao Heiyu, replied. Don't be afraid. Even if you don't meet the requirement, there's still me. As long as there's a mage in the family, we'll be fine, said Lu Jianhua, the dorm head, patting his chest. Stop talking nonsense. You don't even know if you'll get kicked out yourself. Someone retorted. Are you joking? Just wait till I put my hands on it. The radiance will blind your titanium alloyed dog eyes. Lu Jianhua declared proudly. Soon, 3 examiners from the school arrived at the grounds. They were disciplinary teachers, the kind students were usually wary of. All right, silence. The annual examination will be observed by several school supervisors this year. We hope you will display the true essence of a mage today. Zhu Musheng reminded everyone. The examiners were set to assess the 30 classes of freshmen. The 1,500 students in Tianlan Magic High uniforms stood in neat formation, creating a magnificent sight on the training grounds. Before the assessment, the principal gave the usual speech. It was the same every year. Afterwards, the school supervisors addressed the students. When Muhi stepped onto the platform and passionately described the bright future of a magician, Mo Fan, standing among the crowd, couldn't help but smile coldly. He knew all too well about Muhi's morals and integrity. Today is an extremely special day. That is because we have invited the most distinguished female magician of Bo City. When she was 15, the Empire Magic Institute made an exception and recruited her. I'm sure many of you have heard of her legacy. That's right, it's Muning Zhu. Please, let us warmly welcome her. She's the same age as you, but already a magic genius who has advanced to university. He announced loudly. At once, the 1,000+ students erupted in excitement. Heavens, it's Muning Zhu. I heard that when she awakened the ice element, the power froze the entire training ground into ice blocks. Those are just rumors. I've got the most accurate info. She mastered the primary ice element skill, Ice Scatter, in just 8 months. 8 months. I've been here for a year and can only control 5 stars. How can there be such a difference between people? That's not even the most important thing. She's also a beauty. Talented and gorgeous. She's the pride of Bow City. In moments, the whole school was buzzing. Everyone knew of Muning Shui's fame, but few had ever seen her in person. None expected that today's examination would feature the legendary magic genius herself. Brother Fan, it's the little princess, it's really her. She actually came to our school, Zhang Xiaohou said excitedly, tugging on Mo Fan's sleeve. Mo Fan looked up at the platform. There she was, a beautiful figure standing quietly, like a proud lotus in the snow. The snow-white, form-fitting dress highlighted her graceful figure, but what truly drew everyone's gaze was her long, stunning silver hair. Although the weather was warm and dry, she stood there like a snow fairy descending from the mountains, pure and breathtaking. As the students and teachers saw her step forward, they were silently awed. They had heard the stories, but seeing her in person confirmed it. Muning Zhu truly was like an ice fairy in human form, her temperament, attire, and long silver hair exuding grace and nobility. This was Muning Zhu. Even Mo Fan couldn't help but think she looked like a goddess. This was the first time he had seen her in 3 years, since that incident. Back then, they called her the little princess. She was the darling of everyone's hearts, living in a castle in the mountains, wearing clothes and accessories far finer than those of other girls, her beauty enchanting and pure. But now, she was completely different. The once cheerful, approachable Muning Zhu now felt distant, untouchable. Was it because her temperament had changed? Or was it the result of her growth and achievements? Or perhaps it was simply the vast difference in their statuses now. Brother Fan, you should have eloped with the little princess back then, Zhang Xiaohou muttered in awe. Did you hit the toilet door so hard you became stupid? Mo Fan replied. I said that without thinking. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 22 Curing the Superior Dog. Muning Shui's speech was very short. Mo Fan didn't understand why the guys were so excited. They spoke as though they really could get into the Empire Institution. The Empire Magic Institution was naturally the best magic university in the country. For a city like Bow City, anyone who entered it was already extraordinary. With such a low recruitment rate, it showed how special and outstanding Muning Zhu was. She was recruited into the Empire Institution without even attending Magic High School. Brother Fan, do your best in the next 2 years and enter the Empire Institution. After entering there, even if the Mu family's influence is far-reaching, they most likely can't touch you. By then, Zhang Xiaohou chuckled. Just as the words left Zhang Xiaohou's mouth, the nosy Zhao Kunsen jumped in. Don't make me laugh. After today, your brother Fan will be directly expelled from the school, so don't even think about the Empire Institution. Zhao Kunsen exclaimed. Zhao Kunsen, are you sick or something? When did my brother Fan ever offend you? Do you have to bark like a dog every time we say something? Zhang Xiaohou had endured Zhao Kunsen for far too long. In any case, Zhang Xiaohou was currently one of the top students in the class and one of the few able to use magic. He didn't know what qualifications this trash Zhao Kunsen, who could only control 6 stars, had to bark so loudly in front of him. He didn't offend me. I just can't stand this little dreg having no sense of shame. I really don't understand where you got the guts to befriend Miss Muning Zhu back in the day. You should be clear about what you are and stop your wishful thinking. If it wasn't for you, the lands of our Zhao family wouldn't have been taken back. Zhao Kunsen pointed at Mo Fan's nose as he cursed. Zhao Kunsen was also from this area of the city and counted as a servant of the Mu family. Family servant. These words were quite harsh in modern times. However, if a family's livelihood came from the Mu family owner's fondness for flowers, then how was the Zhao family, who took care of the flowers and plants at the manor, not a gardener, a family servant. The Mu manor was so large that it was like the estate of a noble in olden times. Such a place had over 100 nobles in the manor, surrounded by farmers, laborers, and servants numbering over 1,000. According to the older generations, this entire city area once belonged to the Mu family. To survive, households like Mo Fan's and Zhao Kunsan's naturally orbited the truly powerful and wealthy. Zhao Kunsan held a grudge against Mo Fan. If Mo Fan hadn't been reckless and provoked the old master, the farmers would have been living good days. Mo Fan, don't you have even a little bit of brain? I've always known there are people I can't touch in my lifetime, and keeping a respectful distance benefits the family. You just had to invite trouble. You think a toad can eat the meat of a swan? Do you think this is some TV drama? A cow caretaker marrying a princess? Get out of here. Zhao Kunsan pointed at Mo Fan in disdain. With Mu Ningshui's appearance this time, Zhao Kunsan completely released the anger he had long held inside. The stupid thing Mo Fan did back in the day had affected too many people and too many families. A princess is a princess. When you need to show respect from a distance, you should. This isn't a fairy tale. If you cross that boundary, the king will raise taxes in his rage, causing the entire village and town's farming families to suffer beyond words. Today, standing at the back of the platform, the white-haired, middle-aged man emitting a heroic aura was the king himself. His name was Mu Juoyan. He was the kind of person who could shake the entire Bo city with just the stomp of his foot. Mo Fan had provoked this man. Mu Juoyan was known for his benevolence. Otherwise, Mo Fan's family might have dropped to the point of begging for food. Zhao Kunsan, could you shut your mouth? What? Did I say anything wrong? Zhao Kunsan replied. Mo Fan glanced at Zhao Kunsan. Truth be told, the words he spoke made Mo Fan feel guilty. The reality was far from what he had imagined. Some people only understood things after growing up. Some mocked students with bad grades, but mocking someone from a rich family was foolish. After entering society, the wealthy went overseas to study, returned with incredible diplomas, and found high-paying jobs. They still thought their salary was too little, while those who had diligently studied, entered university, and worked multiple jobs found that their quality of life couldn't compare. Their ideal world vanished, their spirit was gone, yet they remained tired and poorer than a dog. The words Zhao Kunsan said showed that his mindset was more mature than his peers. He knew it was better to accept reality than to blindly chase dreams, only to fail and face a cruel truth that would crush all past ambitions in a single moment. Naturally, Mo Fan had no reason to admire Zhao Kunsan's perspective. Instead, he felt like laughing. Zhao Kunsan, you sure have the potential and awareness to be a dog. That's something I, Mo Fan, could never achieve in my lifetime. I admire that, I truly do. Mo Fan said. Who the hell are you? If I am a dog, then I'm a posh dog, eating good food, living in a nice little house, wearing beautiful clothes. You're just the dog of a dying family, a degenerate dog. A dog that eats from the trash. Why don't you look at yourself, reeking like a garbage heap? The funniest part is, you don't even realize how bad you smell. You ruined your family's last bit of land just so you could come to Magic High. But in the end, you'll just get kicked out anyway. I just want to ask your dad, Mo Jiaxing, if he regrets giving birth to someone with such rotten luck. Zhao Kunsan shot back. Mo Fan's words had struck Zhao Kunsan's weak spot, but Zhao Kunsan wasn't easy to deal with. He admitted he was a dog, but bit back even harder. Mo Fan looked toward the group of people. Naturally, his eyes found the one taking pleasure in the situation, Mu Bai. This was the young master who had once lived off others' charity, the same one Mo Fan had beaten down in the past. Back when they were children, retaliation was limited to throwing stones or breaking windows, harmless acts. But now, after the magic awakening and the magic examination, a person's fate could change drastically. The Mu Bai who had suddenly risen in status now had a chance to hit back. For now, Mu Bai had released this dog, Zhao Kunsen. But Mo Fan had been plotting for a while, waiting for a better opportunity to deliver a fierce blow. Not bad. The kid who was once beaten like a dog had finally learned to scheme. It seemed that disciplining him like a father all those years hadn't been in vain. Come on, use whatever move you have. I have more than enough experience dealing with flamers and poses. I have never lost. To fight meanness with meanness, to seek revenge for the smallest grievance, and never let them get away, that's my way. Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 23 Magic Bitch. Alright, stop being so loud. The examination begins now. If there is any more noise coming from any of you, you'll lose your qualification to take it. Just thinking about the expression on Lady Mu Ningshui's face when she sees you being expelled in front of all the students and teachers, I reckon she would definitely regret selfishly wanting to run away with you in the past. Mu Bai whispered these sinister words into Mo Fan's ear, no longer bothering to conceal his true intentions. Your mouth smells like crap. I can't handle this stink. Don't get close to me, Mo Fan said, using his hand to block him. The corner of Mu Bai's mouth twitched. I'll let this kid be arrogant for a while longer. In the past, Mo Fan had pinned Mu Bai to the ground and fiercely beaten him in front of Mu Ningzhu. Since then, Mu Bai had been unable to raise his head in front of her. Even now, he still felt humiliated. Today, Mu Bai planned to make Mo Fan suffer even worse. Being expelled in front of the entire school and Mu Ningzhu, in a society where magic was the ultimate authority, this was enough for Mu Ningzhu to ridicule and look down on him. And when Mo Fan returned to his father, Mo Jiaxing, who had sold their house just so his son could attend Magic High, how would he explain himself? Unqualified students being expelled during the annual examination was a common occurrence. Expulsion wasn't usually announced to the whole school. The administration wasn't that cruel. However, there was one exception, when a magician's stardust had shown no progress at all. Under normal circumstances, after awakening their stardust, students would cultivate it every day. Even the slower learners would gradually make their stardust glow and develop their magical abilities, unless they were simply too lazy to practice. To punish these students who wasted awakening resources and magic books, and to remind others that cultivation was not a game, the school would publicly announce the expulsion of anyone whose cultivation was far too low. This type of public expulsion didn't happen every year. It was mainly a warning for those who had entered the school through connections rather than talent. At the start of the semester, the whole class had taken a rough test. At that time, Mo Fan's cultivation was practically zero, and Zhu Musheng had nearly berated him publicly in anger. Now, with the semester ending and the most important annual examination beginning, the results would be telling. Based on the calculations, Mo Fan's cultivation level was likely dangerously close to the threshold for public expulsion. Just to be sure, Mu Bai and his uncle, Mu He, had also prepared a big present for Mo Fan, one that would ensure he crossed that line. This would give him the dubious honor of receiving a punishment the school hadn't given in 3 years. The best part, Mu Ningzhu and Mu Juoyan would be present to witness it. The thought made Mu Bai feel ecstatic. Today was his chance to shine and soar in status, while Mo Fan would face utter humiliation. The annual examination will now officially begin. All 30 classes in the school started simultaneously. The test process was simple. Each student placed their hand on the star appraisal stone while everyone, including the examiners, watched. They then entered a meditative state, causing the stone to emit the same radiance as the examinee's stardust. The level of cultivation was assessed based on the brightness of that radiance. Each student had 3 attempts, with the brightest result taken as final. The more focused the student, the more accurate the display. The order was random, and the first examinee happened to be the Weeping Beauty, He Yu, who was already at the front. The timid girl walked up under the gaze of the entire class, looking as if she feared expulsion. You may begin, the bald examiner said. Good luck, He Yu. Your teacher and classmates believe in you, Zhu Musheng encouraged. Don't worry if you don't do well. I'll take care of you, added the eccentric dorm head, Jian Hua. Blushing, Hiyu closed her eyes and placed her small hands on the massive star appraisal stone. The class fell silent, watching intently, perhaps more nervous than she was. Mo Fan noticed a shift in her demeanor. Though nervous, her expression had turned serious. The black star appraisal stone slowly began to glow, faintly at first, like an early sunrise. As Hiyu focused, the radiance spread until it filled the surroundings. The three examiners announced the result at the same time. Classmate, it's done. Your final result is an A, the bald examiner stated. Hiyu opened her eyes, stunned, before exclaiming, Really? I got an A. Though it was odd to see a girl shout about getting an A, everyone had to admit her results were a pleasant surprise. Freaking hell. A. That's the standard for entering the elite class. I'm speechless. She was crying before the test like she was about to get expelled, and now she gets an A. Magic bitch. Typical magic studying bitch. I'll never trust her again. Dorm head Jian Hua was completely dumbfounded. Raise her, my ass. I'll be lucky if I can get a B, and here I was worrying about someone who got an A. Homeroom teacher Zhu Musheng's expression was stiff. He had been fooled by her timid act, but still, having the first student score an A lifted his spirits. All the results would be tallied, and the 30 classes would compete for the highest average. He believed his class had a real chance at the top 3. Their biggest rival was Class 7, home to the lightning element prodigy Zhu Zhaoting. But what Zhu Musheng really wanted was for his own top student, Mu Bai, to prove himself equal to or better than Zhu Zhaoting. Next one, do you want to take another attempt? The bald examiner asked Hiyu. She shook her head quickly. I've only grasped 6 stars so far, so I'll leave it at that. All right, we'll use evaluations from your other teachers to decide your class placement, the examiner said. Thank you, teacher. Hiyu walked away happily, wanting to share her joy with friends, only to realize they had all stepped a meter away from her. Puzzled, she thought, I didn't do anything wrong. My grades are good, right? Next, Zhang Xiaohou, the examiner announced. Zhang Xiaohou looked startled. He hadn't expected his turn so soon. Brother Fan, I'm going, Zhang Xiaohou said. Do your best, and stay calm, Mo Fan encouraged. You shouldn't be advising other people. Hearing it makes me want to puke, Zhao Kunsen interjected. Mo Fan frowned. Is this guy in full stalker and interruption mode? Does he have to pour cold water on everything I say? Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 24 Magic Activation Examination. Zhang Xiaohou glanced at Zhu Musheng, and then took one glance at the practical teacher, Tang Yu. Do your best, teacher believes in you, said Tang Yu warmly. Zhang Xiaohou nodded as he walked to the side of the star appraisal stone. Closing his eyes, Zhang Xiaohou adjusted his breathing and slowly entered a meditative state. The radiance emitted from the star appraisal stone flickered, following Zhang Xiaohou's breath as it brightened and dimmed. It was easy to tell that Zhang Xiaohou was slightly nervous, which explained why the star appraisal stone was unable to grasp the energy from his stardust at first. However, Zhang Xiaohou gradually calmed down and fully entered the meditative state. At last, the radiance stabilized. The cyan light from the wind element surrounded the star appraisal stone, and its brilliance was superior to Hiyu's. Aside from being a little unstable, there was nothing wrong with his performance. A+. The 3 examiners had slightly different opinions. Teacher, let me try one more time, Zhang Xiaohou requested. He wasn't satisfied with the result, so he entered meditation again. This time, he was much calmer. The intense cyan radiance enveloped the star appraisal stone completely. It was clearly much stronger than Hiyu's, and the previous unstable flickering had disappeared. The 3 examiners exchanged glances and nodded. A+. Final results. A+. After the announcement, the students of his class looked on in shock and envy. Crap. A+. That guarantees you a place in the elite class. This kid's life is so ordinary. Who would have thought his cultivation was this amazing? We were so wrong about him. That's incredible. If I could get an A+, my dad would buy me a car immediately. Zhu Musheng and Tang Yu both smiled, their eyes full of praise. To them, Zhang Xiaohou had always been an excellent student, so such results were no surprise. Classmate, you're done. We will assess accordingly. The bald examiner was about to finalize the score. Teacher, I'd like to attempt the next test, Zhang Xiaohou said firmly, though his expression carried a trace of shyness. Are you sure? The examiner asked, a little surprised. I know that the higher you rank in the annual examination, the longer you get to use the Stardust magic tool. So, I'd like to take the activation test, Zhang Xiaohou said with determination. Zhu Musheng and Tang Yu kept their smiles. They already knew Zhang Xiaohou had reached the level of activation. The examination consisted of two parts. The first part was the Stardust test. Most students only needed to complete this to continue studying at Magic High. The second part was reserved for top students. Out of more than 1,000 students, only around 100 had reached the level of activation. If a student could activate an elemental skill during the examination, they would naturally earn more points for the annual examination. To gain more of the school's limited resources, students had to show their full potential without holding anything back. Zhang Xiaohou's activation test did not go smoothly. Nervousness prevented him from properly linking the 7 wind element stars to form a star path. The examiners, however, could see that he had the capability for activation, even if nerves caused him to fail the execution. They still awarded him some points for his attempt. Feeling somewhat disappointed, Zhang Xiaohou walked out with his head lowered. Tang Yu gently patted his shoulder like a caring older sister. Don't be discouraged. You will definitely enter the elite class with your grades. Teacher, I thought I was proficient in control, but who would have thought a little nervousness could make all my practice vanish. How are you able to activate magic so easily? Zhang Xiaohou asked. Naturally, it's from practice. But more importantly, your state of mind is crucial. A qualified magician must not only have a solid foundation but also a heart that remains steady in the face of challenges, Tang Yu replied. Zhang Xiaohou nodded in understanding. Next, Huang Feifeng. B. Teacher, I should get an A. I deserve an A. If you make more noise, we'll cancel your results. Next, Luo C. C. The student named Luo C jumped with joy. For someone like him, getting a C was like celebrating New Year's. The students of Class 8 continued their examinations one by one. Most scored B or C, with very few receiving an A. Look, the school council members are almost here. They're at the 7th class exam grounds. The one testing now is that lightning element guy. Zhu Zhaoting. He's definitely the number one in the whole school. That's not certain. I've heard Mu Bai's cultivation is also very high. Mo Fan's ears perked up at his classmates' discussion. He looked toward the 7th class exam area. Sure enough, the school council members were there, including the outstanding Mu Ningzhu, who had already approached the testing grounds. Old brother Mu Juoyan, this is our school's most exceptional lightning element student, Zhu Zhaoting, the principal said politely. When he awakened his lightning element a year ago, I began paying special attention to him. He's currently taking the activation test. Would you like to watch? The principal's respectful tone made it clear that Mu Juoyan held great status in Bo City. Ningzhu, why don't you watch this student's performance? Mu Juoyan suggested. Mu Ningzhu nodded. The lightning element, first among the elements, was so violent and destructive that it made other magicians instinctively take a step back. Inside the testing grounds, Zhu Zhaoting, dressed in the school uniform, stood ready. He adjusted his breathing, steadying himself under the weight of countless watching eyes. Ever since he had entered the school, he had been in the spotlight, and those gazes constantly pushed him to cultivate harder. Heed my command. The first of the elements, lightning. Strike of lightning. As his voice faded, he raised his hand. A purple lightning arc surged forth like a serpent king commanding its violent python soldiers. They slithered through the air, burning everything they touched. Activate. The electric arc crashed violently onto the human-shaped puppet. The puppet trembled as it charred under the strike. Electricity crackled around it, leaving whip-like scorch marks. Then, in a single instant, the puppet exploded into nothing but black dust. On the floor of the training ground, deep burn marks scarred the surface. The scene was terrifying. The puppet had been completely obliterated. The sheer, heaven-defying power of the lightning element stole the attention of the entire examination ground. Even elite students who could activate their own skills took in a sharp breath. Holy cow, who cares about wind trail, water barrier, or fire burst? They were nothing in comparison. The tyrannical might of lightning strike could obliterate an opponent instantly. Whoever stood there would have died in an instant. Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 25 Ice Element, Ice Spread. After Zhu Zhaoting saw the result, a look of satisfaction appeared on his face. As he turned around, waiting for the examiners to announce his score, he suddenly noticed a pair of beautiful eyes as pure and cold as snow. It was Mu Ningzhu. Zhu Zhaoting's face lit up with pleasant surprise. He hadn't expected his examination to catch Mu Ningxui's attention. She looked slightly startled. After all, the power of the lightning element was not something any other element could easily compare to. Ningzhu, what do you think? The school supervisor, Mu He, asked with a smile. Average, Mu Ningzhu replied, not sparing another glance before continuing forward. The principal and the other members of the school council froze in place. What, a lightning element this strong, and she still thought it was just average. Just how high were this girl's standards? He, that's actually not bad, Mu Juoyan said with a smile. Ningzhu is in the Empire Institution, where all the geniuses of the country gather. The activation of the primary skill, lightning strike, is considered basic there. She's used to assessing things using the standards of the Empire Institution. The principal immediately saw a way out of this awkward moment and said, if you put it like that, does that mean Zhu Zhaoting is a student with the potential to enter the Empire Institution? The others quickly echoed the sentiment. If things go well, Zhu Zhaoting's grades might be the best in the entire school, the school director, Chen Guangliang, said. That's hard to say, the vice principal replied. From what I know, Mu Bai from class 8 is also quite capable. Hearing this, Mu He smiled and spoke to Mu Juoyan and Mu Ningzhu. Older brother, Mu Bai is a disciple of our Mu family. His grades have always been outstanding. I believe it's his turn soon. Should we go watch? Mu Bai. Which branch of the family? He's Mu Yang's son. After Mu Yang passed away, I saw Mu Bai and his mother being bullied, so I brought him to live in the manor. Mu Bai is intelligent and determined. No worse than the other children of our family. Of course, there's still a huge gap compared to Mu Ningzhu, but he's definitely a seed worth cultivating, Mu He explained carefully to Mu Juoyan. The authority over the manor lay entirely in Mu Juoyan's hands. Mu He was considered a lord as well, but only of the 3rd or 4th rank, not on the same level as Mu Juoyan. Oh, I vaguely recall now. Let's go have a look. What do you say, school directors? Mu Juoyan asked. The school director with graying hair said, since he's a disciple of the Mu family, was certainly interested. The group began walking slowly toward Class 8's examination grounds. Their presence was imposing. While the students usually saw the school directors as distant figures, Mu Ningzhu, a prodigy of their own age, was someone truly remarkable. On the field, the male students noticed the girl standing nearby. Heavens, the directors are coming here. They really came. My hands are shaking. Perfect timing. Now I can show off. Show off. Your test is already over. You only got a C, you idiot. The Class 8 students couldn't stay calm. Their futures depended on the annual examination, and now the very people who could change the destinies with a single approving glance were here. The atmosphere became unbearably tense. He walked at the front. The bald examiner noticed him, received a subtle hint, and immediately understood. Pretending not to see anything unusual, he said indifferently, "Next, Bai." Bai's eyes were still fixed on Ningzu. Even though they lived in the same castle, it was so large that he'd only been this close to her a few times before. Bai, it's your turn, he coughed lightly to remind him. Snapping out of his thoughts, Bai steadied himself. He had liked her for many years. Even if walking by her side seemed impossible, he would never let that useless Mo Fan take her away. He would be her protector. This was the moment to prove his years of hard work. Bai took a deep breath and walked toward the examination area. Today, both his family and Ningzu would finally witness his ability. Placing his hand on the star appraisal stone, Bai calmed his excitement as much as possible. He had practiced for this, keeping steady under pressure, maintaining perfect meditation even when his heart raced. A dense, white wave of icy energy spread rapidly from the star appraisal stone, covering the area around it. The cold was so strong that even Bai felt it on his face. All the teachers and students watched, entranced. The radiance was overflowing, perhaps the first time anyone had seen such a phenomenon during an exam. Even Zhou Min, who had received an A, was far inferior to this dazzling display. S. All three examiners announced the same grade. I remember Zhu Zhaoting had 2 S's and an A, right? In that case, Bai's Stardust is superior to Zhu Zhaoting's, he quickly declared. Zhu Musheng was stunned. Had Bai been hiding his true strength all along? As expected from a noble family's disciple. I thought he'd get 1 S at most, but he earned 3. With 3 S's, his final result is naturally S. These were undoubtedly the best grades in the school. Wow, Bai is incredible. 3 S's, he's completely knocked Zhu Zhaoting from Class 7 out of first place. Bai is the new number 1. I can't believe it. Bai, you're amazing. Several girls were already infatuated. Bai was handsome, his grades outstanding, he was the knight in shining armor in their hearts. Big brother, what do you think? He asked with a laugh. Not bad, Juoyan replied briefly. Ningzu, however, remained silent. Seeing her lack of reaction, Bai knew that in her eyes, even 3 S's were unimpressive. But the activation test was next, and that was when he would truly shine. Turning, Bai stepped to the center of the field. Bai is taking the activation test. No way, he's definitely mastered the control of 7 stars. I can't wait to see an ice element spell. As the crowd murmured, Bai fixed his gaze on the human-shaped puppet. The Stardust test was only the beginning. Anyone with a brain knew that the activation test was the true measure of ability. I will make the family head and Ningzu notice me. Closing his eyes, he began his magic incantation. Bai skillfully connected the 7 ice element stars, forming a perfect star path. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.